Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the State Farm Analyst Desk. We have just kicked off our second series of the day, Unicorns of Love versus SuperMassive, as they compete for the last spot. That's right, just one spot remains. SuperMassive fall, Unicorns take their first. None other than Dracos. I forgot to breathe. Hold on. That's nice.
Yeah. I'm still Dracos.
Yeah, so I have to say the tie is catching my eye, but we haven't got time for any of that funny business here. We've got to talk about the video game, and of course it starts with the draft. It is up on our screens now. So I want to try and gauge intent here, Kadril. The intention of the draft.
So they first pick away Nidalee. I think that's been a really good pick for an AHaHaCiK. The only three outliers I see is, first of all, they gave the Twitch across to Gadget, which obviously carried the game. UOL gave the Lillia across, which I was kind of surprised by, because KaKAO played like 3 or 4 Lillia games yesterday and he did really well, so I expected them to ban that out. So barring those two outliers, the Malphite pick was kind of out of place for me. You see Wukong Twitch and you think, well, just pick Malphite, I'll shut him down in the fights, but when it came to the game itself, they have Zoe and Nidalee for the Malphite. So it's not like yesterday's game where they have Renekton, Graves, Senna. In this case, they actually had answers to it, they had the damage to deal with it, and it wasn't the best pick.
So just in layman's terms, the big ridiculous engage that jumps on the squishy AD carry doesn't do it when he's been eating spears and Zoe Qs throughout the game.
Yeah, I think what we saw yesterday, and this to me feels like SuperMassive bringing a lot of the same stuff to the table that they did versus Mad, maybe treating UOL like they're the same opponent, which did kind of bite them in this draft. But yesterday when we got to see the Malphite, it was against pretty much 4 AD champions for the Mad Lions. Today it's a very split composition. Maybe SuperMassive are gambling on the fact that because there's a Nidalee and a Wukong already coming through, that UOL are going to try to go for some kind of AD mid. Lucian is, of course, up and available. Maybe that's what they're betting on, but they don't take that bait, and as a result, the Malphite is kind of just outclassed by the Wukong.
Yeah, they should have picked the Malphite later in the draft. They're expecting an AD mid, so just picking Malphite on 3 basically gives UOL the information they need. It's not like a last pick Malphite like yesterday.
Yeah, and I imagine when that Twitch gets ahead, it's a bit of a nightmare to contain Dracos. Once Gadget gets some help.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I think when you look at Twitch as a champion, anytime he gets to snowball ahead, it's always going to feel good. Now, he didn't immediately get to snowball out of the gate, and it felt like SuperMassive were doing a good job limiting the win conditions of UOL, but all it takes is one hole in that dam, one kill over to that Twitch, and everything just falls apart, and second SuperMassive gave that up, it really never felt like they had an option. They're playing a composition that is functionally a shotgun, and well, UOL, they've got guns left and right. They're like, all right, well, you're out of bullets. Well, I'll pull out this one. We got the submachine gun.
This is the best analogy ever, actually.
Everything. Because, yeah, they get one shot. If they hit everyone with their ultimates together, it's fine. But the Zoe can clean up a team fight if they start to win. The Twitch can clean up a team fight, and certainly did across this game. So UOL, or not UOL, SuperMassive, putting themselves into a very limited scope of win conditions.
Okay, so they grabbed that shotgun, and instead of using it against their opponent, they shot themselves in the foot with it. It's magnificent. Let's check out UOL's Mercedes drive to victory, though it is some big plays from Gadget. Let's check out a little Twitch frag movie.
Yeah, I mean, this fight was really split. It's the first sort of dragon fight, and AHaHaCiK does steal it away, but you can see SnowFlower just misses a knock-up on the Gadget, and now that gives Gadget all the space he needs. The Galley ult also misses, and then Bolulu needs to peel back to his team. Meanwhile, Boss and Santas are dealing with a lot of the AoE damage. Gadget's free hitting. All the, like you said, the shotgun's been shot. Gadget's not scared of anything. He doesn't have summoners for this fight even, but he can still walk forwards, and the whole fact that he can do that kind of seals the deal for the fight.
Yeah, and the second that UOL have any, really, 2 members especially of their back. God, that Twitch skin is so horrible.
Yeah, this is where he gets 3 kills as well.
Leave him alone. He's got a really nice suit on. He's dressed up. He's trying really hard.
He's trying, all right. Crime City Twitch going in for it. But obviously this was the biggest breaking point. That kill, that triple kill looks solid, but the second Gadget essentially 2v1 gets this double kill on the tower dive.
Yeah.
The game is absolutely over. There's really no coming back. But what we would have seen, even in a closer game, is that entire matchup is just a test of, can SuperMassive kill the backline with all their cooldowns? Because the second they blow that shot, again, the second they blow that shot, they blow those cooldowns, there's nothing left in the tank.
But they shouldn't really be missing the shot as well. They've got Rakan ult, they have the Malphite ult, they have so much ways to engage. If Lillia hits a ball and get into sleep, so yeah, they missed their shots, but...
By the way, speaking of sleep, all of us in the green room didn't know that Misfortune's ult doesn't break sleep. That sounds like complete nonsense. So that was an eyebrow raiser even for Kadril, just to throw him under the bus for that one. Yeah. But regardless, SuperMassive are now on the blue side for game 2. So I was wondering, how do they rejig this so as to avoid that shotgun style of play? That's words.
I definitely think blue side's favored in the meta just because of the first pick potential and the basically target banning. I think they should take away the Twitch for sure. I think that's something that they probably, I mean, it's a best of 5, right? So giving them a Twitch in game 1 is fine. It's understandable when you want to bring out the Malphite. So I think banning away the Twitch, maybe first picking the Nidalee. I think KaKAO's Nidalee is pretty good. Denying it from an AHaHaCiK, that could be one way of looking at it. Obviously, if Oren's open, that's definitely a good first pick as well. So I think just game 1, is poking and prodding. They found out what was working for UOL and just try and take it away.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's saving that counter pick. If they're Armut, they can't put him so early on the Malphite. Like, he has been a strong point for the team, and I think just trading an early kind of weak laning phase between the Malphite and the Wukong is just not a good deal for this team. I want to see more on the top side, and if they are going to trade weak laning phases, I want it to be for comparable champions, because the Wukong just felt like it delivered more value. Additionally, the misfortune coming in so late in the draft is fine. It's a solid bot lane matchup. You really do set yourself up for success there against the Twitch, but like, you have the luxury of that counter pick, and your solo laners do need that support, especially if Bolulu is going to keep being put on the back foot in these matchups with just the blind Galio. So be conscious of who you're actually saving your last picks for, because that didn't really feel like it came.
I think that's the key, because Boss has the Camille, Armut has the Wukong. We need to see like a carry fight if Armut wants to go toe-to-toe.
Yeah, I love Armut. A lot of people been exciting to see him in the top lane. Something a bit more exciting, more monkey from Armut perhaps. But game 2 between Unicorns and SuperMassive is coming up in just a bit, so don't touch that browser. Or you can.
Hello and welcome back to Worlds 2020. We saw in Game 1, Unicorns of Love played around the Twitch to get themselves the win against SuperMassive, and now we're going to get on into Game 2. Now, SuperMassive will have side selection. I think our assumption is that they will go over to the blue side.
Yeah, I think that's generally been the trend here so far in play-ins, but I think like revisiting the last draft is pretty important for both of these two teams, because on one hand you had like the heavy engage comp from SuperMassive. It was all about diving the Twitch. Unicorns of Love, it was all about range. That worked to their advantage once they got a lead. It was really hard for SuperMassive to get into them, and I also think they did a good job of never offering up more than like 2 people on top of each other for that wombo combo. So really nicely played from the Unicorns, and that is going to be SuperMassive choosing that blue side.
Gonna get rid of the Camille straight away. Last time they banned Camille, Orianna, Renekton. We'll see if that's the case once again. The Unicorns were willing to ban away the Ornn themselves alongside the Hecarim, even when they were on the blue side. So wouldn't surprise me, actually, if we see that Ornn removed by Unicorns here.
Yeah, it definitely could happen. And I just think that play-ins has been really interesting this year, because whereas in a lot of the different regions coming into Worlds, it felt like the meta was solved. Whether like it was the Caitlyn priority or heavy priority on like these farming junglers really starting to pop up. At Worlds, it feels like there is a healthy mix of what we have been seeing. Different teams have different of these farming junglers that they prioritize. In this series, it is going to be the Nidalee as that primo option you can take in the jungle. But that Orianna you were mentioning, taking that away from both Nomanz and Gadget, as that flex is always going to be a good ban against Unicorns.
Yeah, it's always nice when you can capture 2 players pool with a single ban. The Orianna, of course, does that for Supermassive here. The Unicorns looking at their second ban. There's the Ornn. That's taken away. And with the Nidalee not being available, I wonder what the first pick priority is going to become here. Lillia, of course, still on the table if Supermassive want to take it themselves.
Well, I am looking at the Hecarim potentially. That was one that Unicorns banned out last game. Now that they banned the Nidalee, though, that opens up the Azir and the Hecarim as the 2 that slid through, as well as a potential Renekton. And personally, if I'm Supermassive, I would love to get the Shen Hecarim. I think that's a really, really powerful combination. You can pair up together, and I mean, Armut, Shen, KaKAO's Hecarim, those are 2 champions they can absolutely pop off on.
And although Armut, obviously, you know, he's a good player across the board, his Renekton hasn't always shone that much, so the Hecarim is going to be the ban. Supermassive now will look towards the Lillia as their first pick. That's already locked in. So once again, putting faith in KaKAO. He had a couple of good performances on it yesterday, but didn't manage to pop off with it in Game 1 today.
Now, I wonder how tethered they are to the Misfortune, because the Misfortune combo with Lillia is really strong, but I did not see the really sick ultimates I was waiting for in draft last game. Zeitnot, they didn't quite connect. You know, a couple times he caught 2 people, but the sleep was either broken by someone else or an Alistar popping free in that one. So I wonder if Supermassive will end up sticking with that. Regardless, it will be a Renekton up in the top side of the map for boss. I think we could end up just seeing a simple trade up in the top lane. I'm always going to be looking at Armut Shen. I think every draft I'm going to mention that one. But for the rest of Unicorns of Love, the Graves as that secondary best option you can take in the jungle when the Nidalee is banned out. A lot of people like this up into the Lillia for the quick clear through the camps.
Yeah, and Boss is a very scary Renekton in the top lane. 6-0 across the course of the LCL. Very powerful on that pick, but we have seen Armut stand tall against a lot of opponents in the top lane already, and maybe something like the Shen here could do a similar job to how he has played in the past. Give him something a little bit tankier, give him something with just actually some good trading patterns against the Renekton early on. That Spirit's Refuge can do a lot of work for you as the Shen.
Well, the Senna was a favorite of Zeitnot's for the first couple games they did play at Worlds, paired with these melee supports like the Nautilus, the Leona, these types of options. I don't think they're too concerned about picking up a support champion right now. Of course, if they do want to hold on to some agency to, you know, counterpick either top lane or mid lane, they can do that, but perhaps they have picked up a little style from the Mad Lions here with the Wukong. That, of course, can go into the bot lane next to the Senna.
Gonna be honest, didn't work out too well for the Mad Lions yesterday, so Supermassive hopefully can pilot it.
It's because Supermassive knew how to play it better, apparently.
Exactly.
They know how to beat it, so they know how to win with it, is somehow how that works. But Nomanz Kassadin is going to make a return. I love this. Everyone remembers the insane jukes, the escape, the turnaround that he had during the round robin of play-ins. And this is going to be the carry AP damage here for the Unicorns coming out of the mid lane.
And you can see they already get rid of a pick that is strong into the Kassadin in the Illusion. I'd expect perhaps an Azir ban as well from the Unicorns of Love, just because Bolulu is so strong in it. But we do still have just a couple of moments before we get to that second ban.
And you know the other thing I'm expecting, Medic, is actually a mage in the bot lane. And I love the Karthus ban coming out. That is a target ban to Gadget in the bot side. Because with Graves top lane, right, or Graves jungle and Renekton in the top lane on that top side of the map, you already have a couple of physical damage dealers. Gadget would love to get his hands on something that can deal some magic damage. Probably magic damage from range too, because that's the only thing you're really missing from this composition currently.
And also getting some magic damage that works earlier on in the comp. Because of course Kassadin does a huge amount of magic damage, but it takes a while for him to actually have it in his damage profile. So I'd like to see something with just a little bit more power early. Maybe the Heimerdinger is an option. Swain removed here from Gadget. And the set taken away from Bolulu. Now perhaps a support pick if you want to keep that flexibility, that counter pick for last.
Yeah, right now, because with the Swain ban and the Orianna ban earlier in the draft, those are the two mages that Gadget played during the round robin. The Ziggs, though, is an excellent option here. I really like this champion playing for early turret plates, especially with the Graves to help you push out that lane. And then you compare it with something like the Thresh. Gives you a lot of survivability, a little safety net. Even if a sleep is coming down from the Lillia, I think that champion can offer a lot of value.
Also gives you a huge amount of wave clear, which is something this composition was missing a little bit of. You know, the Graves can do a bit, the Renekton as well, but he has to be in the middle of the minions to get there. Ziggs gives you that ranged wave clear, so if you do fall behind as the Unicorns, you have a way of stalling out those sieges from SuperMassive. They're going to take the Leona alongside that Senna. You talked about it. They like that hard engage. They like the power. SnowFlower has been a very strong support throughout the course of the World's play-ins. Expect to see him hitting those ultimates alongside the Azir. That's actually such a powerful engage potential. You then sweep people back into the Cyclone, into the Dawning Shadow. It's very strong team fights here for the SuperMassive squad.
SuperMassive have a lot of different ways they can approach a team fight. Because like you're saying, the Azir plus Leona, Wukong, like all those champions can go in, but they can also play things a little bit slow. Work with, you know, the backline damage you have, the Senna range, the sustain you have there too, Lillia's movement speed. You can kite around in these fights for a very, very long time. That being said, maybe a little bit difficult later in the game up against the Kassadin especially, so they need to find a way of locking down Nomanz and making sure he cannot take over the game, because we have seen that too many times here at once.
I love watching Kassadin's pop off. I'm going to be honest, it's incredibly fun to watch. We saw it earlier on today with LGD taking down Legacy from the OPL, and perhaps we'll see it here as the Unicorns are going to take the Alistar as their final pick. Gives you a little bit more engaged, gives you a bit of a tanky front line, which works. And not the most powerful into Leona, because Leona can kind of just Zenith Blade through you if she wants, but also can be... If she Zenith Blades, you then knock her away. Assuming the Zenith Blade is still about to connect, you just fly all the way back onto whoever that sword has gone through.
I'll be honest, like 2 games in a row now, I do like the approach that SuperMassive is coming into the game with, especially whenever you see a Graves picked early on. As much zone control as you can get in the range, you can get to contest him. The Azir, the Senna, likely with the Glacial Augment, it becomes really hard for him to execute within these team fights. So I actually think this is a game where we're focused a little bit less on an AHaHaCiK outside of the early game. You know, later on in the game, it's going to be harder for him. But this is a game where Nomanz on that cast, and we've seen him carry with it before, and he very well could do it again.
See Sheepy with a smile on his face, and right to have one. They went almost undefeated through their summer season, did the Unicorns of Love, losing only 1 game in playoffs to Gambit Gaming. On the other side, SuperMassive had a little bit more of a turbulent affair. 3-2, 5-game series against 5 Ronin in their finals, but they will be looking to strike back here as they are 1-0 down.
And they're used to the 5-game series. You know, they had to play one yesterday, Medic. So 1 loss is not time to, you know, throw the towel out or whatever the phrase is. It's not time to give up.
Throw in the towel?
Throw in the towel. That's the one. Blow out the candles. Any of those great things you can toss in there. No. SuperMassive are a strong, strong team here and looking to challenge Unicorns again. Game 1, it was a very close game. I do think Unicorns carried away with it past that 15-minute mark, but close one nonetheless. These games are going to be bloody. Expect a lot of action, especially with these champions. And I'm really curious to see how Unicorns can move the Ziggs around the map.
Gadget's Ziggs is a sight to behold a lot of the time. And we are going to jump on into Summoner's Rift. So eyes on Nomanz, of course. Tick-tock, the clock is ticking. 1 out of 16 so far, I'm sure, is the spam in Twitch chat. But we see Bolulu on his Azir that has been banned away from him so many times. We see KaKAO once again on the Lillia, with which he had such a great effect yesterday against the Mad Lions. We see SuperMassive with all of the tools in their arsenal to keep the Unicorns at bay.
They're also starting with a sweeper on KaKAO. I saw right before our item choices got hidden away, so I was wondering if there could be any sort of level 1 movement. We know that Lillia's always like to clear Raptor camp, and it's really interesting watching how the jungle clears have evolved over the course of Worlds and as we've entered this more farming jungler meta, because it used to be you would always go like red buff into Krugs, make sure you prioritize those, and I think we've seen a little bit less of that as more junglers have looked to fight over Raptors, level 1, level 2, go for those. A lot of times you'll see either a Raptor start, you'll see red into Raptors very, very quickly, even though they give less XP, just to make sure the denial and the invade does not come through. Now that invade might come through the bot side, that's what SuperMassive are set up for.
It's going to be a very late invade, and there is a ward there from the Unicorns of Love, so they'll be spotted out as they step forward. As we said, they have the sweeper on KaKAO, so they can clear out the ward, but you will know that SnowFlower, KaKAO, and Zeitnot are all here. They spot the ward, they take it away. Gadget, they try and put some damage down from across here. The Arcane Comet adding just a little bit on towards that bomb.
And you can actually see the immediate response from AHaHaCiK. He's not even going to start up his red buff. He sprints straight over to the SuperMassive blue buff. They did leave a ward on that, so they will know exactly what is going on. This means there shouldn't be any sort of response. A lot of times you would see with a blue invade like this from KaKAO, maybe taking the Wolves or the Grump and then sprinting back over towards blue to stop that. But Armut sacking his lane entirely to make sure AHaHaCiK can't take this one away.
So the only risk for Armut is if Boss comes down quickly enough to catch him out in a 2v1, but that doesn't happen. Boss left the lane just that little bit later. That denies the blue buff away from AHaHaCiK. So now AHaHaCiK, KaKAO is just like, okay guys, I'm just going to run straight across to my blue. I get 3 buffs right now.
This is exactly the play I'm talking about. He's even stealing some EXP from mid lane. He's going over here. I think you forget the red buff. Just take the Raptors. Yes, this is perfect. This is exactly what you want to see. Because AHaHaCiK is stuck on level 1, we'll have to use his smite to level 2. You know Lillia clears these camps so insanely quickly. So that is 3 camps stolen away from AHaHaCiK. It's a level 3 on the Lillia compared to the level 2 from the Graves. And I mean, they're trying to walk into the jungle here, but as soon as Armut walks on down, like, you can't make this play happen.
Yeah, the issue is you never get mid-pressure as Unicorns of Love right now. Like, Nomanz is always going to get pushed in by Bolulu, and you can see AHaHaCiK has to come across, help out Nomanz in the mid lane, force Bolulu back, but means that he will not be able to go into that blue side jungle. Interesting that KaKAO left the blue up. Now, of course, this means that you can refresh the buff later on.
Yeah. I mean, it's just about making sure there's no chance for Graves to get anything in this map, because you see he's going to take Raptors, he's going to then get bot side Scuttlecrab, again, mid lane, as you said, pushing, bot lane also pushing, so they're going to walk in here and find AHaHaCiK again.
Smite in a level advantage, AHaHaCiK able to get away, the Watch Out Eat coming out. Here's Santos. Grump not quite low enough to be smitten. The Zenith play from across the wall, Santos going forward, AHaHaCiK is low and does just manage to get the smite.
It is doomed for AHaHaCiK. Like, this man is going to be level 3 when KaKAO's hitting level 6. Maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, but it's going to be rough because, again, both Scuttlecrab's going to go KaKAO's way, and I think when you're playing a super heavy invade style of League of Legends, forget about the buffs. Like, don't actually clear your buffs. The 5-minute reset timer on those, it's not worth it. If you really want to cycle through and you're clearing away your enemy's camps, look for those 2-minute timer resets on your base camps. KaKAO will also have the respawn timer of the enemy Wolves, which I think he will ignore, but the Raptors that he went to immediately after, coming straight out of this topside Scuttlecrab, immediately go up for those Raptors that should be spawning in about 20 seconds from now.
It's actually just so difficult for AHaHaCiK to have any influence on the game right now. He is level 2, he's taking his Krugs for the first time while KaKAO takes his second blue buff of the game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right now you get the 15-second timer from KaKAO, so I'm fully expecting... Actually, he's going to start up the Grump here. It's because Bolulu wants to take a reset, even though the Azir has the teleport. I would have liked to see him maybe go for that one immediately. Might even still have time. Yeah. That's the crazy thing is,
so quick.
Because AHaHaCiK was put so far behind, like, his base is boots. So there's no combat stats there. KaKAO can continue to play aggro, even though he hasn't gone for a reset himself.
Lillia is going to go for a reset now. So they give up that second spawning of the Razorbeaks, decide it's not worth it, and we'll go back with almost 3 times the farm of
That's crazy.
That is actually disgusting. Gets a Stalker's Blade and an Amplifying Tome. Is going to be in a really strong position. Now we'll see how he can translate this early game advantage across the rest of the map. Because meanwhile in the top lane, Boss has been bullying Armut. 16 CS lead for the Croc over the Monkey.
Yep.
I don't remember what Wukong was there for a second.
Yeah. It's sometimes hard to forget. You usually confuse the Croc for the alligator, but in this case, the Monkey, a little bit more obvious. Meanwhile, AHaHaCiK goes mid lane, steals some EXPs, like, thank you very much, but it's still a 2-level advantage. for
It might actually be
KaKAO.
level 6 to level 3, Endo.
It might legitimately be that. I think AHaHaCiK should hit level 4 off of these wolves, like assuming how much EXP he stole off of mid lane. But level 6 to level 3, like called, would be absolutely brutal.
All right, it's going to be 6 to 4. KaKAO has red and Krugs, and should hit 6 after he gets his Krugs. You can see second back here for AHaHaCiK. Only got the boots so far. Will now look to get that jungle item complete.
Yeah, regardless, the level 6 coming through from KaKAO is going to be insane, and it's not like AHaHaCiK has any good fallback pattern other than just continuing to farm his camps. Like, he doesn't really have the lanes he can play around. When he's behind, he doesn't pack the punch needed to roll up into top lane and punish Armut for pushing this wave like this, even though I think Boss is doing a good job of holding the wave right in front of the tower, and that'll force a reset out of Armut. Now KaKAO with the level 6 is walking in river, and I think he could just take this dragon pretty easily. He has the double buffs, because remember, he left those up, so he was able to do those on his second clear. And then we'll also have the respawn timer of the blue buff from the Unicorn. So coming off of this camp, you can then look for the invade, utilize that level 6, the CC the Lillia gives you. It is a jungle masterclass, Medic.
It's been pretty enjoyable to watch if you're a Turkish fan. KaKAO going to get the Ocean Dragon 6 minutes into the game, then gets the respawn of the Scuttle Crab. And then AHaHaCiK just slowly working his way through his second Gromp. Let's look at where we are on the rest of the map though, Ender, because of course we have focused a lot on the jungle because that's what the talking point has been. In the mid lane, slight CS lead for Bolulu as expected. The Azir into Kassadin matchup pretty favorable to the Azir early on, and now Bolulu's going to use that pressure to come over towards the jungle once again.
The problem is you can't fight this because it's a 3-level difference in the jungle. As much as you want to talk about other things, it just matters more that your jungler has such a lead. The smite goes through from KaKAO as well, so he picks up the blue buff. And the lanes now are suffering a bit as Gadget was called from bot lane. Some minions may be falling down there as he tried to go help out his jungler. And I think with having a Kassadin in mid lane, it is such a gaping hole that SuperMassive are taking advantage of, right? Like, Unicorns don't have any pressure coming from that at this point in the game, and it's giving KaKAO free reign.
KaKAO has finished his Runic Echoes on his Stalker's Blade. And AHaHaCiK has a little talisman and a knife.
God!
He's like, hey mate, I can't afford 2 boots, I can only afford 1. He's limping around with 1 shoe on and a little paring knife being like, I'll come at you, I'll get you.
I'm going to be honest, Medic, as much as like there are 10 champions in this, or 9 champions in this game, let's not be too generous there to the graves at this point. Like, it really is just about the jungle and how KaKAO can use this. So I do think it's worth continuing to focus because now we're seeing KaKAO with that level 7 just running into these objectives. And he's free to do this without calling his lanes over because of the power he has.
And I want to do a little rewind as we see him start the Rift Herald up because you can wonder exactly how this happened, right? They got the invade on the blue buff, and AHaHaCiK knew it was happening. He was like, okay, I'm going to go to the blue. And you have to give so much credit to Armut because he came down from the top lane, sacked some early CS, and then stopped AHaHaCiK from taking that blue, and it's all gone from there.
Exactly. It's been a team-wide effort. So KaKAO has kind of been cheating because, again, he had Armut. He even had Zeitnot and SnowFlower help him out with the invade initially. And AHaHaCiK has been on his own. Everything that he's had his laners help him out with has been very, very reactive. It was not well thought through, and I think he was definitely caught off by surprise with how the early game did end up panning out. So while there are no kills in this game, the gold is not actually blown open that wide because I think top lane you see a decent CS lead for Boss on this winning matchup in the Renekton. He even has minions to pick up onto his tower. We are going to see SuperMassive picking up these Drakes very quickly with the mountain spawning in 2.5 minutes, and hopefully KaKAO can find a way to utilize his ultimate because we haven't actually seen him do anything proactive other than PvE.
PvE is very difficult from time to time. This is his 4th Scuttle Crab of the game, I believe.
Yeah, because he got the first 2.
And AHaHaCiK has none. Blue buff will be up for KaKAO. 2 minutes, as you say, on the Mountain Dragon. We'll give credit to Gadget in the bottom lane. He's been able to push in that wave, get himself a plate. That second plate is very shortly to follow. And AHaHaCiK is trying to get some jungle of his own, some counter-jungling done. Still that 2-level disadvantage, but teaming up with Santas will give him an extra man to help out.
This is a really good move, using Santas first on the reset to help get some vision and spot out the Lillia. Maybe it can protect on the next blue buff invade, but there's 3 people here.
Flash, Zenith Blade, collateral damage used to try and get away, and AHaHaCiK just able to flash out of the back of it. Santa's going to pop the Unbreakable Will to try and get away, and will flash the wall. KaKAO still on the chase, though. Bolulu going in as well. The TP behind them as Boss.
Double TP.
Double, as you say. Boss and Nomanz going to join the fray. And now it's the 3v5 in favor of the Unicorns of Love. The Emperor's Divide will knock back one, but Bolulu should be sure to follow. First kill goes down. Nomanz gets it. Boss now in the middle of them all as Zeitnot comes out from Armut. He takes down Santa. SnowFlower still alive somehow. Double to Nomanz, though. And another kill goes over to Boss. And SuperMassive, maybe they dived a little bit too greedily. Armut's going to get a kill. But Nomanz is looking for his third of the bite. Gets it. A triple to Kassadin. An ace to the Unicorns. And just like that, the game blows up.
Forget the early game. Unicorns will beat you in the fight right now. SuperMassive, they thought it was just one TP because Armut did not come in quickly enough. It was actually two right there. Nomanz now with 3 kills on the Kassadin. It's a disaster in the river once again.
And absolutely incredible for Unicorns. In fact, I believe this is kind of deja vu as I watched the Nomanz game before. He got a triple on the Kassadin in the bottom river. And the game just went away from there. KaKAO just overstepping as the double TP comes in.
And as fed as KaKAO is relative to the Graves, you see the Kassadin, the Renekton also level 8. So Bolulu, he gets caught out here inside the river. He's immediately down. Then SuperMassive continued to force the fight, even though KaKAO had already used his ultimate. AHaHaCiK raining down damage. Nomanz, like, what are you going to do to this guy at this point without the DPS coming through? The rest of the team from SuperMassive were just not powerful enough, and you can see KaKAO as his entire early game lead goes flying out the window.
Just evaporates. It's now a 1,500 gold lead to Unicorns, and look at Nomanz. Look at how strong he is. 4,600 gold. Bolulu is 800 gold behind him. Boss is ahead of KaKAO as well. And although AHaHaCiK sits very sadly at the bottom of the chart, apart from the supports, he is well aware of the knowledge that his team is now ahead, scaling. You've already got the Rod of Ages complete on Nomanz. Archangel stuff on its way for Gadget. He's completed the Seraphs. And in such a strong position. Rift Herald is going to be popped down mid here to try and keep Nomanz in this lane.
SuperMassive still winning the objective game in terms of those neutrals, so we'll be able to pick up some damage and some plate money off of this mid lane tower. But at the same time, Ziggs is pushing bot side. Boss gets sleepy.
He's going to flash across the wall. Will be safe. Of course, KaKAO burnt his flash in the last fight.
But look at this. Like, the Rift Herald is used in mid lane. Unicorns will have to clear it away. And Ziggs is down bot side like, hey guys, by the way, my passive does a lot of damage to towers. And my W nukes them. 2 plates right there, just instantly going to be deleted down there. He's solo as well, so he just got a huge influx of gold. He's been very quiet throughout this game. He got those 4 assists roaming up through the river, but now he's going to be a force to be reckoned with.
And as much as you can say it's great for SuperMassive, we talked about it, they got the early objectives. They were able to get a Rift Herald. They got 2 dragons. They can look for this next Rift Herald as well. Unicorns of Love are now hitting their power point for that next dragon, right? In 3 minutes, that Kassadin is going to be at 5 stacks on his Rod of Ages. He's going to be level 11. He's going to be so strong. And you have a Ziggs who's already got his first completed item. And you've got a Blade of the Ruin King on boss. Like, as much as the AHaHaCiK is behind, you do not lack damage in this composition because the Kassadin is so far ahead of the clock.
Yeah, and I mean, even with Armut getting the, in theory, he got to see the Renekton picked early, and he took the Wukong into this matchup. Boss has been having a great time up there. Sure, the kills have come through the team fight down in that outside river, but was able to build up a CS advantage and have a lot of pressure in this matchup as well. Now we've seen Unicorns split into, you know, the 1-2-1 with Graves roaming around inside of the jungle, and I love this. As soon as the bot lane tower falls, you want to see the Ziggs get around the map and see if he can potentially pick up some plates. The plates are about to fall. But with Ziggs in mid lane, that means almost permanent priority for the Unicorns of Love. There's no champion combination from SuperMassive that can actually contest that unless they're bringing 3-4 members towards the mid side.
So what we then want to see from SuperMassive is that strong vision game that they had against Mad Lions yesterday. Create pockets of darkness for your opponents and catch them out as they overstep. You know, if Kassadin's Rift walking forward, you can catch him in a Solar Flare, you can catch him with a Shield of Daybreak, you can lock him up and take him out really quickly. The issue is, it's very hard to do that when your lanes are pushed into you.
Exactly. For a second, it looked like Nomanz was going to try to set up a freeze down here, but I mean, even when he does enter those fights, you do try to lock him down, but he's probably going to be running Legend Tenacity inside the runes. That's one of the big benefits of being able to go into the precision tree, so Leona not going to be quite as useful. SuperMassive again, completely focused on these topside objectives, and Unicorns, they're here to flip it on the Herald again.
All 5 members coming in. Will it be a flip or will it be a flop here for the Unicorns as they look for the fight? Boss caught off towards the top side as Armut jumps onto him. The sleep's going to go down. The Lilting Lullaby used only for the croc. And yep, he goes down. Santa's now in the front line as the Emperor's Divide pushes him away. SuperMassive all ticking down on health, about half on every single player. Zeitnot had to use his flash as well to get, his heal to get away from
Yeah, exactly.
Nomanz.
Nomanz jumped on him, so he's completely zoned away. Now Bolulu and Armut are trying to run from this one. Santis has a good flank to come around. They are going to path. They're going to split up and look for the executes. Whoa!
Oh, collateral damage. Oh, hits him and he still flashes. Oh, a little bit too late there from Bolulu. I'm not sure you burn your flash there.
I think you just accept death at that point. You hold on to the flash. There's going to be a team fight coming up in 1 minute and 30 seconds on the Drake. You already have two. You want to fight over the third one. You need to fight over it when you see a fed Kassadin on the other side. So big mistake coming through from Bolulu, especially because, of course, Graves was able to pick it up, and that means a Herald on top of it, which will be used to break this mid lane tower.
Yeah, Armut is down in the bottom lane, does have the TP in a few seconds' time, but won't be able to get here soon enough. SuperMassive should step into this bottom side river, use the priority they have in bot, use the priority they have in mid to get some wards down, but they had no procs on SnowFlower's Relic Shield. They didn't have any control wards in their inventory, so they weren't able to gain control of the area before Unicorns could reset.
Coming into this fight, it is literally just components for SuperMassive, even coming off the reset. Because Armut delayed, you know, that Trinity Force with the Tiamat, the Ninja Tabis, as well as a second Doran's item. Like, Boss, he's got his Blade of the Ruined King and almost his Cleaver on top of that. So it's a big difference in terms of what the top laners can provide. Level 11 for Renekton makes him almost unkillable in the river against champions with not, you know, fully completed items, you know, without the Leandris finished off and potentially in Nashers either, so this fight may not even be the best option here for SuperMassive. Gadget, on the other hand, thinks it is, because he just got a book.
Yep, he is an avid reader. He's been going to the library and asking what your favorite books are each day, and today it is the Medjai's, the Book of Death. Or a Death Note sometimes for your opponents as you continue to land bouncing bombs. And I think that the issue I have with SuperMassive right now is it might not be the best fight, but you kind of have to take it because you want to keep the clock ticking on this Infernal Soul as you catch out Boss. There's one. That's a great pick for them as Nomanz was in the top lane and decided not to teleport in. Infernal Dragon started up by SuperMassive as the Unicorns actually look to disengage.
They can't do this. It's only going to be a steal opportunity here for AHaHaCiK. 20 seconds
Solar Flare on Gadget. Zenith Blade going in as well. KaKAO trying to do what he can. Here's the TP. Nomanz going to join the fray now. Up towards the top side of the fight is Bolulu. He's looking for a flank. He's on a control ward. Nomanz going to jump forward. The blast cone is there, but Nomanz can still chase. He now has a flank of his own as the Unicorns.
Boss is alive in 5.
Look to dive in. Boss alive in 5. As you say, he's going to rejoin this fray. In just a moment's time, the Infernal Dragon
TP behind.
resets once again. Boss has the TP. KaKAO doesn't have the Lilton Lullaby back, and now Boss has the flank position on the Renekton. He's diving forward with the slice and dice. KaKAO goes down, and AHaHaCiK will get that kill. Armut's killed Santos, but Nomanz is just popping the hell off. Bolulu can do nothing but run and hide. Emperor's Divide will knock Nomanz back, but Bolulu, you're running in the wrong direction now. As Nomanz continues to rift walk towards you. Unicorns of Love still on the chase. Zeitnot almost falls, lands the last embrace, but the bouncing bomb will find its mark. Now Bolulu is not long for the rift, a nice little slide.
You're trying to slide away, but Kassadin is just more mobile than you, man. He's waiting, he's coming in, ready to finish off the final kill here. There is nothing you can do, Bolulu. That is the ace again for the Unicorns. They bought enough time for Boss to respawn and teleport into the fight, and then they slay SuperMassive in the river.
And 12 stacks in the book. 12 pages to read through as Gadget continues to scale up on this Ziggs. The Rod of Age is almost complete for Nomanz as the sleep comes down here onto AHaHaCiK. KaKAO and SnowFlower are trying to team up there. Mega Inferno Bomb just absolutely nukes KaKAO. Death from above there from Gadget. SnowFlower unable to save his teammate.
What a fight right there from the Unicorns, because it looked bad. It was a 4v5. It was almost like, just leave Nomanz in the top lane. It doesn't matter, but they were able to kite out for so long, get the Drake to reset, and then Boss comes in around on the flank. Boss's impact wasn't even that felt as he jumped over the wall to try and turn this around, but then the backline of SuperMassive, like, they just get jumped on. They get instantly broken down. Ziggs had also just hit a really big breakpoint in the Seraph's Embrace, and once again, in these split-up fights where SuperMassive are kind of going all sorts of different directions, they are just getting taken out time and time again. This is not the clean team fighting that I saw them using in a lot of those games against Mad Lions yesterday, where they were abusing the Fog of War to find the engages.
Armut's going to try and abuse some vision control in the bottom lane. Seed Cyclones onto Nomanz. Nomanz will have the Rift, gets out of the Emperor's Divide with the last embrace, finds the shutdown. Zeitnot able to take that kill. A good little play there from SuperMassive to try and get something back on the board. I will give credit as well to Gadget in those team fights. Like, his ability to control zones of the map with this Ziggs is absolutely devastating. It becomes so difficult to get onto that backline if there's a satchel charge in your way.
Exactly, and it's one of the ways to combat with the insane range that SuperMassive's composition has with the Azir and the Senna. Is you just put down those minefields, spam out those bouncing bombs, rather, and keep them off of your tail here. And with 16 stacks Mejai's, with the Leandries coming through, finished off Seraphs, there's not really that much threat onto him in the backline. It is really just Armut diving in, and he's still, 20 minutes in, does not have a Trinity Force complete. So say what you will about Nomanz, 13 out of 16, 5 kills already, really approaching that deadline. Gadget is it almost a bigger threat in terms of you're never going to be able to reach him reliably.
Becomes so difficult for SuperMassive. Feels like the scaling clock is ticking. Of course, Azir and Senna can do a huge amount in the late game. If you can find a pick, if you can find a good fight, that solar flare can find its mark, you can just demolish someone. But right now, SuperMassive 4,000 gold behind, and they lost that last dragon, so they don't even have the soul coming up in 2 minutes' time.
And triple Merc Treads coming through from Unicorns as well. It's a great game for Mercs when you see double AP coming out and a whole lot of hard crowd control too. So those champions going to be even more difficult to lock down. Nomanz should also be very close to finishing off the upgraded Seraph's Embrace. And again, it's these defensive items that, combined with the insane scaling these champions naturally possess, make them kind of tanks at the same time too. You know, you just can't actually take them down, and that's going to be really, really hard. So this Drake is going to be very defining for SuperMassive. It's still going to be before the level 16 point. It's still going to be before any sort of like Rabadon's complete for that Ziggs in the bot side as well. And it would put them on soul point. SuperMassive have to take fight here, and they have to be able to win.
It's going to be such a difficult task for them. Bolulu still only sitting on a Nash's tooth. We haven't really seen his itemization that much, but he is miles up behind the clock. When you look at Nomanz, already got that Seraphs and the Rod of Ages complete. And Nomanz, he's already popped off once on the Kassadin this tournament. It looks like this is going to be another one of those stellar games for him. He is actually one of the key carries for the Unicorns of Love so consistently. He's done 30% of his team's damage across the course of playing so far, and continues to show us why he's a player to be feared in this tournament.
All right, we'll see now. Armut is looking for some sort of a flank here, but there are wards he will walk over and be spotted on. And again, not a lot of good targets to actually find in the backline outside of that Ziggs. It may be better just try and enter the fight from the front, play that slow team fight, playing for your backline. And they're going to sprint over here towards the Baron, try to pull Unicorns over their way, but you don't want to stand in that pit for too long, otherwise this Ziggs is going to tear you apart.
And the issue is now, if you're not doing it, you are giving up in the second Inferno, right? Like, it's not a soul. The Unicorns of Love have only got one dragon so far this game, but SuperMassive are now going to try and pull the Unicorns into a fight. As soon as that Scryer's Bloom comes out, you have to expect the disengage. Last Embrace misses. SnowFlower just acting as that front line, standing there with the stun ready. Infernal Dragon goes down. There's the Solar Flare. Nomanz not caught in it. Rift walks away. Lilting Lullaby available for KaKAO. It was only ticked on Nomanz. You can see SuperMassive unable to find anything out of that fight.
The engages have consistently not been able to find their mark here, coming from SuperMassive. And as we get later into the game and they realize the inevitability of the scaling of some of these Unicorns champs, like I said, the fights need to change their context, how you're playing backwards instead of forwards like you were before. But now with just sort of giving objectives over to free for Unicorns of Love, Unicorns can spread out into that 1-3-1 where Renekton's going to have a nice time in the bot side with 2 finished items. Of course, Nomanz is already so insanely strong, and you're always going to have pressure coming through from mid lane. So SuperMassive, when ultimates are back onto cooldown, there's no threat of engage coming away of Unicorns, and they are completely free to play the entire map, soak up golden experience for all their carries.
I like this from SuperMassive, though. They do it again. They try and catch Boss. Double TP in behind them, and a counter TP coming out from SuperMassive.
Whoa!
Boss gonna fall first. Armut almost down. Here's Nomanz. Level 15. Tick, tick. The clock is ticking. KaKAO jumps over the wall, but Nomanz still has a flash and a Rift Walk and a Mega Inferno Bomb to back him up. The Kassadin dives in. KaKAO the target. No sleep available even through the exhaust. Nomanz is unkillable. The Emperor's Divide comes out, and Nomanz will eventually fall, but not before he helps his team get another. And now SnowFlower going back in with the Zenith Blade. Zeitnot forced away. Santa splashes the wall. And Zeitnot should die to the cow as AHaHaCiK dives forward for the kill. SnowFlower, the last man standing. Gadget jumping around. The Hexplosive Mindfield's going to work out as well. Santos dodges out of tower aggro. dives back in for the kill. Unicorns with their third ace of the game.
The Unicorns of Love are the team that refuse to quit. They will never call it quits after 1-2 kills. No, they want every single player off the map, and they want them dead. And Unicorns right there. Nomanz, the amount of damage he put out, even when he was going to die, was absolutely insane on the chase coming through. And it was all off of a play that SuperMassive themselves started, jumping there onto Boss, but the double TP, like you said, comes on through. Nomanz finds the first. The Blast Cone to knock KaKAO back, forces his flash to come through, and you can try to run away. Lillia is fast, but she's not fast enough to get away from 20 billion blinks coming her way. Even through the exhaust, he's still dealing the damage. It's crazy, man.
That was level 50.
Oh, God.
It
gets worse.
It gets worse. It gets worse, and it feels like SuperMassive have been preparing for an exam for the last 25 minutes, and now deadline day is here, and they haven't done their homework, because that Kassadin, one level away from 16. It's coming up for a fight once again. Lullaby coming out. There's the TP. Immediately, Armut is down below half HP. Just walks through a couple of bombs on the floor, and Boss is going to teleport in. SuperMassive, we're looking to try and find a pick, but AHaHaCiK is chasing down Armut. Tries to get away on the top side. The Solar Flare used on Nomanz. He's only looking for the monkey. Armut pops the Cyclone to try and get away. Boss and Santos can come in from the side, but the clone will work out for Armut. Santos Hex flashing across the wall, dives on SnowFlower. Dawning Shadow going to give a shield across the entire team as SuperMassive back away. Unicorns of Love will allow them to disengage now.
Nomanz is playing that one pretty cautious. He could have, rift-walked forward a couple of times, but he did not want to get CC chained and taken down. So they will just force all of SuperMassive to go ahead and take a reset. And they're not even going to overcommit and move into the Baron too quickly. This team knows they have a lead. They know that Kassadin is insanely powerful. 15 out of 16, and Gadget gets caught.
Beautiful little shuffle in there from Bolulu. No. But that was a 25 stack Medjay, and that's exactly the damage it can do.
What? That damage, like, we saw it from Nomanz in the bot lane, we just saw it from Gadget there. Even when they're dying, they're always taking someone down with them, and now Armut, he's next on the list.
Just oversteps, and Nomanz dings over to 6, and ding, ding, ding goes the bell as the round is over, and you have to feel that Unicorns will go to the Baron and close this one up. SuperMassive, it's a miracle they need. It is something from the heavens themselves they need to get back into this game, because right now they are getting outscaled, they are getting outfought, and they are about to get out with another loss.
The jungle's just lit up like a Christmas tree. They're walking through it, they're seeing every single step of the way. Nomanz has his level 16, and he might be able to 1v3.
I mean, SnowFlower is the first target for him.
Look at him!
Nomanz giving the thumbs up across, dives forward once again, dodges everything. The Baron goes down. There's 30 seconds on the Inferno. Not solved for either team, but I'm sure Unicorns will want to add it to the litany they have in their inventories alongside the extra gold that they are ahead.
This is just such a frustrating game for SuperMassive. Bolulu does do a good job of picking off Gadget right over the wall, but, I mean, that's just a full damage ultimate. Yep. 85% of his health bar there. I think there might have been an auto attack or a Q to help knock him down, but just ridiculous stuff coming through.
And as you say, it's just such a difficult game for SuperMassive, right? Like, there was that one fight, like in the first game, there was that one fight where the Twitch got ahead.
Because it started off so well for them.
KaKAO was so far ahead.
Had a 2-3 level advantage. It was insane, but they keep getting out-team fought in the river around the dragon by Unicorns of Love. We know Unicorns are a scrappy team. They love to team fight. That was one of their big strengths in their region, and now SuperMassive don't seem to have the answer against the Unicorn machine.
And you wonder perhaps if there is a degree of exhaustion in them. Like, they played a full 5-game series yesterday. They fought back after losing fights like that. They were able to take Mad Lions and really just force them into so many difficult situations. And now Unicorns are doing that to SuperMassive, and it feels like SuperMassive just can't quite find that fight back that they had yesterday.
And start chugging the Red Bull if you need some energy here, because SuperMassive about to go down 2-0. Match point for Unicorns. Unicorns with 3 Infernals and the base about to break. It's their time.
Last year against Splice, they went 2-3. They almost took down the European 3rd seed. This year against SuperMassive, they are looking to go 2-0 up, 1 game away from groups. The last time we saw a Commonwealth of Independent States team in Worlds Group was 2016, and we all remember the names of Albus, Nox.
Yes, sir.
We all remember what they did. The Unicorns trying to show they are the best team in the region. They are the best team the region perhaps has made in a very long time.
That middle lane inhibitor exposed. Boss up here solo in the top lane, able to knock this one down, and Nomanz virtually uncontested. Bolulu's doing his best trying to clear away the minions. In the mid side, AHaHaCiK took so much damage, but the ultimate comes through and is dodged away by Zeitnot. Again, that bomb will instantly kill the backliners of SuperMassive.
Yeah, Void Staff can play alongside 15 stacks in that Medjay's, makes it so difficult to do anything against it. Inhibitor down in the mid lane. Unicorn's going to bring in the bot wave, but that's actually not the largest wave in the world. It's only got that single cannon in it. Hasn't been stacked up.
And it's a Ziggs siege. These towers will instantly get blown up. There is no defense for SuperMassive, and their engage options, all they really have is the Leona at this point. Bolulu could commit with his flash, but he's not going to be able to do that.
Ziggs passive takes half of the inhibitor's health. The SnowFlower looks for a last chance saloon engage, but they can't find the solar flare. Gadget able to flash away. Meanwhile, in the top lane, you can see Boss pushing in, takes the turret.
There's just absolutely nothing that SuperMassive can do. They're going to lose their third inhibitor uncontested inside of the base. Just watching it fall down. There's no solar flare to start off a fight. Unicorns of Love are going to take everything.
They're trying, but SuperMassive can't find the fight. Their only engage is the solar flare with a flank perhaps from Armut, but no teleport available, no teleport wards available for him as Zeitnot almost falls down. Triple inhib gone. 2 minutes on Infernal Soul, 2 minutes on the Baron. A 9,000 gold lead for the Unicorns of Love.
I think Gadget is attaching some notes to the bombs he's sending in there, because those are getting personal onto Zeitnot every single time, trying to find that Senna. She has a Hex Drinker to try and stay alive, but you can see how out of control this game had gotten. Because even with the early advantage that was all on KaKAO, the game was still close. When they took that fight in the river, Nomanz got that triple kill. It just broke completely wide open. Nomanz absurdly fed on this Kassadin, almost at his Rabadon's death cap, but I mean, he doesn't need it to do the one-shots. He's already there. He's already dodging all around the map. The Rift Walks everywhere. This man cannot be stopped.
It's so hard for SuperMassive to itemize against him as well. Like, what do? You get magic resist, you get a Banshee's Veil on your Azir against the Kassadin. It's not really going to matter too much. You can see KaKAO said, well, I'll get myself an Abyssal Mask. I'll try and make myself a little bit more tanky. And here comes the last-ditch play from SuperMassive. Armut trying to get onto that backline is Gadget, who's the target, but Gadget's still surviving. Mega Inferno Bomb's going to do some work. KaKAO's almost fallen. Gadget gets one. Nomanz jumping around as much as he can and flashes away. Armut able to survive for quite a long time in this fight, but Nomanz has already taken him down, and now Zeitnot is the new target. Bolulu goes down. SnowFlower alive with Zeitnot. The bot lane trying to survive, but it's just not enough. It's just too much from Unicorns of Love. A triple for Nomanz, the fourth ace of the game, and the Unicorns will go 2-0 up and be one game away from groups.
You can throw curveballs the way of Unicorns, but they will find a way to bounce back. It's the team fights for them, and it's, again, with a bit of their own flair. The blind pick cast in the mid lane. Who has the courage to do that? It's Nomanz. You've seen his insane moves time and time again, and Gadget, these AP bot laners, the Ziggs, also looking completely ridiculous. That's going to bring the Unicorns to match point here up against SuperMassive.
And you wonder what SuperMassive have to do, what they need to change, because it hasn't all been about draft. Like, it's never been won in draft, but the inventiveness of Unicorns in the draft is definitely a sticking point. SuperMassive don't seem to be able to find a way to crack the code that is beating the Unicorns.
It also just feels like SuperMassive are getting a little, a little too high for you, perhaps. They're going for these fights without the, realizing that there's 5 members of the enemy team there. They're getting punished in these river fights time and time again, getting split up by the Unicorns, and they have to come into those fights better prepared and more ready, because Unicorns are beating them in the river every single time.
They really are. Now, we did have some audio issues on the comms from Mad Lions versus SuperMassive earlier, so here you have the sounds of the game presented by Bose.
Okay, they are getting kind of low, they are getting kind of low, they are trolling. Like, you can poke them, Notus doesn't have flash, he doesn't have flash, they are gonna flip it, I have ult into,
I'm coming soon.
Look at the graves, look at the graves. Okay, fuck.
I got it,
Nice.
I'm coming soon.
Full fight, you can run.
Okay. It's fine, it's nice, good job. Pretty good.
This is revenge for last game. Lol. I will take top wave and I have my Abyssal.
Hey Mercedes, legends run wild, each one unique. with astonishing power. Unstoppable. Master warriors. Ready to compete. Seeking glory. We live it, we breathe it. We have each other's back. Together, we become legends. Icons of a new generation.
Welcome back to the State Farm Analyst as we just saw Game 2 of Unicorns of Love versus SuperMassive. We're going to take a closer look at the early game pathing from KaKAO, a master of the Lillia. Now, of course, I am not qualified to bring you this breakdown, so who better to bring with me than the man himself, Kadril. I'm going to start rolling this clip, and I got to ask, what stands out to you? What makes this so good from KaKAO?
Well, if you look at the map state, there's kind of a split map going on here. Graves has gone to the top side blue, KaKAO went to bot side blue, but if you pause there, what Boss does here is what Armut does here is he pushes out the AHaHaCiK, so he can't actually take the blue buff. So the Graves is essentially a bit out of it. He's not restarted a buff yet. He's still level 1. And KaKAO, a small thing he identifies here, which people might miss, is the fact that he's doing Wolves over Gromp because it's faster. Lillia is not very good at single target damage. So if you keep playing the clip, we can see AHaHaCiK gets pushed out of the top side jungle. KaKAO takes the Wolves. And now, after these two camps, if you do another one, you won't get level 3 normally. But what he does is he runs through mid, picks up a little bit of experience, knows exactly where AHaHaCiK is because Armut pushed him out, takes his Raptors, then gets level 3 as well, knows he's on the red buff. So now KaKAO, most junglers would just full clear, right? But what KaKAO does, keeps his move speed buff up, runs back towards the bot side, does take the wolves as well, but now AHaHaCiK shows on mid, so now KaKAO knows, not only have I taken his bot side camps, I can take bot crab as well, and then take the top crab. So he finishes two more camps, he's close to level 4, so the whole thing I want to focus on here is what KaKAO does is he brings support with him. If you pause there, what KaKAO's kind of identified here is, once he's taken away the wolves, he's taken away the blue, he took away the raptors, that's 3 camps. So there's only 1 camp left where AHaHaCiK can be, so he just pulls SnowFlower and says, okay, guy, if you come with me right now and we take this Gromp, this guy is out of it. So he does exactly that. So if you play it, KaKAO's just focusing on the Gromp here. So as soon as he does take this one away, SnowFlower obviously trading in as well, using the bot power really effectively. And not only does he take 4 of his camps away, he also gets double crab. And then he gets a 2-level, 3-level lead in the first 6 minutes of the game. It was completely illegal.
Honestly, this was one of the most disgusting early jungle advantages I think we have ever seen, and definitely the most disgusting one that we've seen at Worlds 2020 so far. Now, despite all of that, despite this incredible, massive lead, despite how AHaHaCiK probably wanted to say GG go next in 5 minutes, it was, of course, still at the end of the day a UOL win. Now this is the time where we need to talk, Machine.
Hi!
About what the hell happens next?
Come hang out.
How do they do it?
Yeah, I mean, that is the question, Dracos. Thank you very much. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Well, I don't know why we didn't do it all the time.
Well, see, the thing is that me and you, we're kind of here to push the pause buttons.
Yeah.
We're here to read the prompter.
Yeah.
And Kadrill's kind of here to tell us what's actually happening.
Yeah, okay. That's kind of the
That's
layout.
kind of how it goes, I guess. Yeah, but I mean, with this jungle lead, they couldn't close it out. I think the Kassadin was a bit broken.
It does look at, but okay, so just fill me in. Dracos, remember we did that content piece?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, and I sat there and you were like, okay, so the only bit of the script you have to do is say, yeah, but what about the first 15 levels, right?
Yeah.
That was the only thing I had to say.
That's true.
Because that was your super weapon as level 16 Kassadin.
Weapon, yes.
But I've watched Nomanz twice now in the mid-game, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking 20, 25 minutes, and he's already finding triple kills on a Cass. Is this just him? Do we just congratulate Nomanz here?
This man just is like the professor of Kassadin. You know what I mean? Like, this man seems to know exactly how much damage he can take, exactly how much damage he can dish out, and it means that unlike every other Kassadin we see internationally, for the most part, he actually has an impact pre-level 16. He is actually making plays, he's moving with the team, he's getting stuff done, he's not just hard losing early lane, and that's illegal, I think is what you would say, Kendall. That's illegal. He has to lose lane. Like, that's the rules of League of Legends, and he's breaking the rules. You have to lose as Kassadin.
Well, looking back at the root of the Kassadin pick, it always comes down to, does the enemy mid jungle have full AP? Are they both full AP? And that was the answer. There was yes. So you can see they had the Lillia, they also had the Azir, and then he picks the Kassadin. Obviously, he picked it on 3, kind of expecting that if KaKAO picks Lillia, if we ban away 2 AD mids, he's probably going to play a mage. So that was kind of like an efficient way of picking the Kassadin. I think Bolulu didn't really have a response to it, and when it came to fights, like you said, I don't know how it's legal that he's getting these triple kills, especially when it's an early game Kassadin. And I don't know, it's kind of like a worrisome trend now for the side of SuperMassive, because do you first pick the Lillia or the Nidalee and then go an AP mid as well, and then give them the Kassadin option again, or do you ban it out? Like, now they're really in their heads, I'm sure of it.
Yeah, because I think the difficult thing right now is that from what we've seen from Bolulu, yes, he can play the Azir to a very high level, wasn't enough in this game, but for the most part, they've been putting him on very defensive mid lane options, and almost every single defensive mid lane option outside of a champion like the Set is an AP champion.
Yeah.
And defensive options usually aren't very strong lane bullies. Yes, they can push in the Set and the Galio, but they're not going to bully Kassadin out of lane. That means that they're setting up for Kassadin pretty much every game if they continue to draft the way they're drafting.
And it feels like SuperMassive is covering most of the potholes that UOL, like the curveballs they might throw at them, right? They've banned away the Swain, they're banning away cards, they're banning away Twitch, but they have Kassadin to deal with. So now that you're 2-0 down and UOL's throwing all these crazy picks at you, it's like, I'm sure UOL is in their head. I'm sure of it.
So this genuine question here, do you, if you're UOL and you're 2-0 up, you're 1 game away from Wilds, like straight up just doing what no one from your region has done before. If you're in that state of mind, do you get a bit flirtatious in this draft? Do you pull out something you've been wanting to slap down on the table to make a statement?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, the thing is we've watched UOL in EU for so long, and hell yeah, they do.
We don't have time. I wish we could.
Slam dunk.
I would love to theory craft some Darius or whatever it may be, but either way, we'll see if Unicorns of Love can close out the series and advance to groups for the first time in history. History?
Yeah, big.
Jake from State Farm. I would like to formally extend my gratitude for the Russell rate on my insurance.
Do you mean surprisingly great rates from State Farm?
I don't believe in accepting help, but I'll make an exception.
Here's the deal, Russell. There's no special rate. These prices are for everyone.
With the oak and the eagle as witness, consider us square. I made that from memory. I know your face that well.
When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey Mercedes, legends run wild, each one unique, with astonishing power, unstoppable, master warriors, ready to compete. Seeking glory. We live it, we breathe it, we have each other's back. Together, we become legends, icons of a new generation.